Welcome back to High Consciousness Podcast. I am so excited to be with you guys again. I'm excited to share this time. I may keep you for a while because you know I like to yap. So we are out here, but I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to continue the conversation. Um, last episode was deep, and my contact may be something that you come upon years down the line, right? The whole purpose is that I'm serving my purpose by serving you this information and serving myself because, this is very therapeutic to me. I love coming on here and just chatting and, providing information and even just having an open space to have other people jump in. I think that the road to podcast is more of creating a community. And although it's used differently, just like anything else, right? Life has a pro and a con. It has its cons for sure, but I feel as though it's such a great platform for us to be able to communicate and talk about things. Like maybe back in the days it was seen differently. Like we had tribes, right? Like we come from tribes, and those tribes would help each other out, and that's just all I want for the world and the community. For us to be open to help each other out because we're all here on this journey together, and you don't got it figured out as much as I do, but you got it figured out, right? And the whole purpose is to help each other continue to figure it out. Don't ever be closed minded because that's not going to get you far. I believe in God. This platform is based on God's will. This platform is based on God's intent and with God's intent. The whole purpose is to continue to get closer to people that want to hear this content and want to be here and want to be present and want growth, and are open minded. And just know that this is never a space where you can't be yourself. The whole point is to be yourself. But perspective brings us so much closer, and I think that a conversation can go a really long way. People shy away from that, and sometimes we shy away from it because we may not be really ready ourselves, but we feel it so deeply that we don't even know what to do with it, so we might as well not even touch it. And that's how things get tarnished, and that's how things don't grow, and that's how things don't get watered, and that's how there's no understanding. There's no hey, seeking to know, maybe what this could be. I feel this way and I don't know where it's coming from. Let's explore it together, right? Triggers are part of trauma, and today we're going to continue to talk about that. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you already seen my post and you know what's up. And if you haven't, I posted something along the lines of the message to, the world that we need to take the stigma around being completely healed. Because at the end of the day, we're never going to be completely healed. There's always going to be inner work we're going to have to do. We're not perfect, and that's okay. Um, you know, at times I used to think very like a perfectionist, and that's also part of, what's instilled in us. Oh, you got to make sure that you get good grades. You got to make sure that you don't you win that game, right? You got to make sure that you don't fail, when at the end of the day it's okay to fail, because it's only going to get you closer to success if you apply what you learned in that failure. If you don't apply that, it's never going to get anywhere, and application is a very huge part of having knowledge and being able to create wisdom. But I say that because, we use the word healed a lot in this society, and it's just sounds like you're leaving it there. Like you never give it room to be able to like grow, and we're always going to continue to heal, because then right now maybe there's something I'm working on, right? And then when I master that, right, then okay, now I got to self-reflect. Oh, now I'm getting things coming from this side. Like there's always going to be things coming at us at 1,000, right? Like we're never going to be able to dodge them all, but the purpose and the goal and the intention, I should say, is to be able to be better than yesterday, to be able to be better than 2 hours ago, to be able to be better than a year ago, to be able to be better than 5 years ago. It shouldn't ever stop, because then if you stop, then you're cutting yourself short. You know, there's a lot of things out there that put us in spaces where we think to ourselves we're not good enough. And, even just being in the United States, it's all about the American dream. And all of that comes with its own traumas, because then it instills a certain programming to kids. And we are those kids. And our kids are those kids. And our parents' kids. And their parents' kids. Like all that, this is generations of damage, and I don't like to say or use the phrase of I'm broken, because words are powerful. And if I say that, or if I even say to myself I'm negative, that's all I'm ever going to ever be. So good self-talk, no bad self-talk, and through that you heal yourself. And that's why I say, like, healing is a forever thing, and I don't want us to think as a society like I'm healed and then go about it that way, because then you're limiting yourself and you're not even giving yourself grace. Because then let's say you go into something or something happens in your life, now you're harder on yourself because you're like, well, I'm healed, I'm not supposed to react this way, when no, it's not like that. Yeah, you're healed on certain areas, but there's certain things that we still have to explore. And that journey is forever on until the last day we breathe. Do it righteously. That is the whole entire intention, to do it righteously. You know what feels good inside, and you know what feels bad. And you also may be addicted to something, but it feels good and you don't want to stop. Stop. Because it's killing you. It's cutting you short. Loving yourselves means giving that longevity. To say that, I say this. We're going to go into the quote of the day. So, the quote of the day comes from the book that I shared with you guys. I thought I had it. Yeah, I do. The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel Van Der Kolk, psychiatrist. And, if you haven't listened to episode 9, please do. We are on episode 10. Oh, God. We are on episode 10. It feels so good, and to know that there's so much more to go, it makes me so happy. So, yeah. Quote of the day is from Bessel Van Der Kolk. And the quote of the day is, you can call this the quote of the day, your mantra of the day, your mantra of the week, of the month, of the hour. Trauma robs you of the feeling that you are in control with yourself. And that's deep. I want you to take a second with that one as I play this video. This is Van Der Kolk speaking upon what the quote is.
Well, what did you mean by that?
When you get traumatized, it's not the external event, but your reaction to that external event is that you cannot cope with it, and then you're vulnerable to react to other things as if they're catastrophes. So you may suddenly find yourself very scared, or very angry, or very aroused, or very panicky, or you can shut down. And so you really have no control over those intense emotional reactions that happen after a trauma.
Yeah. So in many ways, people who are traumatized feel that their lives are out of control, that life is, I guess, happening to them rather than them being in control of their lives.
yeah, they keep reacting to stuff, and things are disorganized, and then oftentimes they start off blaming the people around them for having caused them to be so angry or panic or something or another. But after a while, people start realizing, oh, it's really my reactions that make life so difficult. And so, how do I control these reactions becomes a major issue. And oftentimes, people learn to sort of shut themselves down and learn to not react. But with it, they become very distant to themselves and the people around them.
I think what you said there was really quite poignant for me, that we often think it's the people around us that are causing us to feel a certain way without that deep realization that actually we're generating those emotions. We may not know why we're generating them, but ultimately
Right.
it's coming from within us, isn't it?
Yeah. Not the whole story, because negotiating your way through the world is complex. People will say things that may not be pleasant, or they may not respect you.
That was very deep right there. What he shared, but it ties back into what I'm saying. It's the whole part of you have to look within and understand, or try to understand and find ways to understand where are those triggers coming from, and why am I responding the way that I'm responding, why am I reacting the way that I'm reacting. And by the way, I have my my friend's shirt on because we are honoring the Matthew Perry, known as Chandler Bing, that we all love so much. And you know it's deep. That one's deep. But for sure, it definitely is someone we're always going to remember. And I'm just happy that I got to watch this show and really get into it and really give it my all and love it as much as I did. Like I can do reruns of Friends for life. Like if there's any reruns that I can sit through and I will simply watch, and it would be hard for me to fall asleep because I'm actually watching it, is Friends. No offense to any other shows, movies, anyone. That's just me. You feel me? Like die hard, die hard. So I know my friends, fans are feeling it, and shout outs to y'all for, just like giving love, just giving love, and just allow this to get us closer and understand that the people around us and even ourselves, we're not gonna be here for too long, so cherish every moment, take in every moment, and make sure that you learn from these people, because he also left a book behind, and that book was very, very deep. Like, and I'm still listening, and there's moments I have to pause because it's just, hearing somebody's story is always, it always sounds like, damn, you went through that. And it's like, well, they're no different than me, they're no different than me, and because of that, it resonates differently with you, so I definitely recommend his book. Is Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. I got my own thoughts on that. Not on the book, but on his passing. But we're gonna get back to trauma, but honestly, really, if you read his book, it talks about exactly what this is all. Like everything ties back to trauma because of the simple fact that we all have been through it. We all have been through it, and we don't have or never got given the tools at that time to be able to understand or even be able to say like, okay, I can do this differently, or this is not my fault. No, it takes us going to therapy. It takes us maybe talking to a friend. It takes us maybe talking to our lovers. It takes us reading a book. It takes us doing some research online. It takes us those steps to be able to figure out what's going on in our brain, our mind, our body. Van der Kolk did state something along the lines of trauma versus stress. So let me try to find it real quick.
What's the difference between trauma and stress?
The big difference is when stress is over, it's over. And so when you sit for an exam, you're working hard and you may not be able to sleep, but once you take the exam, you can go for a walk, you can go do whatever you want to do, and the stress disappears. And stress is not bad for people because we really are programmed to deal with very adverse circumstances. That people can deal with a great deal of stress, but the critical thing is when the stress is over and you've done whatever you needed to do to deal with it, then your body resets itself, you become calm, and you stop being hyper-focused or whatever. When you get traumatized, those reactions don't stop.
So trauma is almost like a severe stress response that never ends and that starts to change our nervous system and how we view the world, how we react to the world. Is that one way of putting it?
Yeah, it's not as cognitive as view the world. It's really how we react to the world. Mm-hmm. Our reactivity changes, and we may become too intensely aroused by minor issues. So trauma, when talking from a neuroscience point of view, we have some networks in the brain that help us to select what's important and what's unimportant. It's called the salience network. And after you get traumatized, that salience network makes you react to minor issues as if it's a catastrophe.
Yeah. How common is trauma, would you say?
Oh, extremely common. And there's, of course, all kind of gradations, but things like being abused by your own parents, being brutalized in your personal relationships by somebody.
So, I'm going to pause it right there. We're going to continue reviewing this, but I'm going to pause it right there. Because I don't want to overwhelm you guys either. I want to take it step by step. And today I really wanted to focus on the quote that I stated and how trauma does rob you of the feeling that you are in control with yourself, and it puts you in a place that you, instead of you thinking about, hey, how can I control my emotions, how can I learn how to do that, and not always, as he stated, go about it in a sense of like, oh my god, it's the end of the world because something didn't go my way, or it triggered me and it got me really, really angry, and now the feeling of anger is coming out. It's a constant way of living, and it's a constant way of responding if you don't become self-aware. And as I stated, the 3 levels of safety, social engagement. We call out for help, support, and comfort from the people around us, but if no one comes to our aid, or we're in immediate danger, the organism reverts to a more primitive way to survive: fight or flight. We fight our attacker, or we run to a safe place. However, if this fails, we can't get away. We're held down or trapped. The organism tries to preserve itself by shutting down and expanding as little energy as possible. We are then in a state of freeze or collapse. And it states, this is where the many branch vagus nerves comes in, and I'll describe its anatomy. Well, he stated he was going to describe its anatomies and things of that nature, but it literally goes through the breakdown of fight or flight versus collapse, and it dives deep, and like I stated, I recommend this book. It's a lot to digest, and if anything, baby steps with it. Maybe go to therapy first. Like, I'm no therapist myself, but just to share a personal story, I've been in those scenarios. Anger was one of my biggest downfalls. And I just know that I'm a very dominant person. Like, that's just who I am. That's just my vibe. And I'm overprotective. I'm a lioness at heart, but I can live in my lion. I can be in my masculine. And when I'm in my masculine, I didn't know how to control that anger aspect of it. And instead of learning, I just kept lashing all the time. And I had to go through life and really seek, right? Because it's all about seeking and wanting that peace for yourself. And it's like, how do I get there? Some of us live in different states. And I mean state of minds. So we are all not going to react the same. But the whole purpose is seeking out and wanting that peace for yourself, and understanding that just no trauma is not, it's not just you. And I wish someone would have told me that earlier on in life. I think that I would have cut down on some years of, not understanding my own trauma, or just in general, not really being not being able to see it through. And to be vulnerable with you guys, there was moments I didn't want to be here. There was moments that I felt angry. Like, it was very deeply rooted to the point that I couldn't even see that during that moment or those moments, because nobody was also helping me, right? Like, my environment wasn't a space where I could be safe. My environment wasn't a space where those conversations could happen. My environment wasn't a safe place. And people that go through trauma need that safe place. They need that moment for you to be able to allow them to be themselves and say what they need to say. But then after that, seek help. Seek help for yourself. Seek help for those around you. And if you are a better person because you have seeked help the next one up. And that's what I'm here for. This is why I share these things with you guys, and I get vulnerable on here, and I come on here because at the end of the day, these are things that I'm learning myself, that I can only imagine how many people out there need this information, and I just feel like this is me speaking through God. Like God is speaking through me, and I come on here to continue to speak God's message and be able to help the next person that may have these thoughts in their mind. Also wanted to talk about trauma versus stress, and he laid it out for you, and this is an episode. It's called The 7 Surprising Ways to Heal Trauma Without Medication. Dr. Bessel Van Der Kolk, Dr. Rangan. Sorry if I butchered your name, sir. Rangan. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Rangan. He sat down with him and they had this conversation, and it's all in the book too. Like, these are parts that are in the book. And the next segment is how common is trauma, and it's very common within all of us. Like, the ones that don't, like, I'm so happy for you, but that's impossible. Because if it's not sexual abuse, like he stated, it could be anything. Going to war, like, it could be anything. Getting into a really bad car accident, or maybe just growing up and seeing your mom like get hit all the time, like, or seeing an alcoholic, or seeing, or seeing, anything that can leave you scarred and you feel and like you gotta kind of go into like you feel like there's no control, like it gets deep, but I just really wanted to touch on those two topics on today's episode. And episode 10, we made it, baby. We made it. Thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. I hope that you take something away from this and it's positive and it enlightens you. The whole point is to continue to go to the path of enlightenment. And enlightenment is something that is taken lightly, when at the end of the day it's just you going on a path to wanting to be in a higher frequency, vibrate higher, think higher, think critically, think with logic, but also have empathy, right? Be open and want to learn and unlearn, because the last few events and the things that keep happening in the world show us that we could be in worse places, right? But at the end of the day, it's all about what you do with the now, right? And how grateful you stay. Stay in the state of grateful, because it could be worse for us. I'm grateful every day I get to wake up and do this. So keep on living your purpose, keep on finding your purpose. And as I stated, like for me, I wish somebody told me earlier that I wasn't alone, right? Even the people that may have hurt me, they go through their own struggles. The abuser and the victim go through trouble. So give grace and forgive and want to go down that path, because at the end of the day, it will enlighten you. It will bring light to your heart. And with that being said, I hope this brought light to your heart. I hope you stay tuned and in tune, and make sure you stay always true to you. Love yourself, be kind to yourself, talk nice to yourself, manifest, go on the journey. The journey is awesome. The journey feels good. The journey is rough. It has tears. It has moments of joy. It's a great journey. Get up and do it again. Get up and do it again. Get up and keep doing it again until it's your last day. And you won't know, because you'll be too busy serving your purpose, that you'll feel good at the end of the day. All right, so have faith, walk with faith, walk with God. And if you don't believe in him, please start. Please start. I love y'all. I give y'all my heart. I hope that this resonated with you, as I stated. Episode 10, High Consciousness Podcast. Popular, your host. Follow, like, subscribe, tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. Love y'all. Peace.